All right, my favorite division, the AFC North. So I looked up highest total wins by a division the last 4 years. 2019 NFC West 38, 2020 AFC North 38, 2021 NFC West 40. Who had last year the most wins? Who do you think? It was 43. There was an extra game. What was the division with the most wins last year?
Kyle, which division are we previewing right now? Is it the AFC North?
No, it was the NFC East.
Oh, no. I fell into your trap. So
43
stupid.
wins for the NFC East. So I like everybody in the AFC North, and I was like, no, they're not going to have 40 wins combined. I went and looked it up. I was like, well, the NFC East had 43.
Right.
Why can't we get there? So the only team I'm going under with is Cincinnati at 11.5.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
It's too high. I don't like the Burrow, really no preseason at all.
I feel like
they got to figure out their secondary stuff. Yeah, we don't know how injured he is.
Yeah.
And they're at Cleveland in week 1, a team that we both like. I think they're going to get there. I have them either 10-7, 11-6, like right under the over-under. And I have them in the playoffs, but I do not have them. I was kind of shocked by the 11.5 over, right?
Yeah. Well, this
isn't that way too high?
3 quarterbacks should be very good in this division, right? And so, and then what are they doing outside of that? They have the AFC South and the NFC West, which, by the way, you read off the numbers for the NFC West. How crazy is it that that's one of the worst? It's top heavy with 2 good teams, but I mean, that was like one of the best divisions in sports.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh man, those top 2 are going to go 4-0 against those bottom 2.
So you get AFC South, NFC West, that's 6, maybe 7 easy games.
Yeah. And plus Minnesota, Buffalo, and at Kansas City. So those are tough. But again, they've played first place schedules before too. They're a weird team. The more you look into it, like their offense was like 18th in big plays. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I envisioned Chase down the sideline and Higgins and all these guys, but they were like efficient, but not necessarily explosive. And I think they're gonna battle with some of these teams and they're gonna get to 11 wins, but I don't see it getting to 12.
Me neither. There was a physicality to them that as the season went along, I had them, I was higher on them. I had a lot of futures with them last year, and they started out rocky enough that I was worried, but you could kind of see it come along. And the game when Hamlin went down, that was a game where it looked like they were making a statement against Buffalo, and then the game ends, which it should have. But it felt like, even the KC game, they were right there. Mm-hmm. That game came down to a couple plays, but KC was better by a fingernail, right? I didn't feel like they were like much better.
Everybody liked the Chiefs getting one, giving one. What was it? What a fixed line that was. But yeah, they lose Bates, the safety. They draft the defensive end from Clemson. They're going to be okay. Defensively, they'll be okay. Even though like sacks was their strength, their Super Bowl year. I think they only had 30 last year, so. The identity is going to be something to work on.
Great defensive coordinator. Yeah. Lots of good players on both sides. I have them with 11 or 10 elite plus the coach, I think, is at least above average. Mm-hmm. So Burrow's health would be the question, the secondary, and a really tough division. I'm going to ask you this, though.
Yeah, I think like Mixon has slowed down too, right? I think he was like 29th in broken tackles and stuff like that. So he's got to do a little more, Burrow, which is interesting. And obviously that offensive line has to hold up, which we know is suspect from year to year for this team.
Every year in the first month, we have the, what's wrong with that team? Last year was the Rams.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the Bengals, but they're on the list.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's them, but I'm not positive it's not them.
Well, let's try to remember not to go too crazy because they were 0-2 last year and they fought back to a really good record.
Baltimore is another slight under for me. Mm-hmm. The over-under is 10.5, which I just think is too high. It's plus 104.
That changed
to go over, which tells you that there's action on the under. I just have questions. I have questions on the defense. Humphrey's already hurt. Yeah. I wasn't sold on the defense to begin with. They're bringing all these different weapons in. They're relying on Zay Flowers, who is young. I always get nervous relying on young receivers. Lamar's health, not sure about that.
Yeah,
Lamar just got this huge contract. Never totally know what happens to somebody. And really tough division. They're loaded on the offensive line. They still have Andrews. But this division, I have them kind of fourth for talent.
Yeah.
Is that crazy?
I don't think so. It's a very different team, right? I think it was like a mass exodus defensively. They lost JPP, Peters, Chuck. Some of these guys are like a little older, but they were good like
Calais
clubhouse
Campbell.
guys. So Calais Campbell, obviously, Justin Houston, all of them. And so that's one thing. The other thing, and by the way, did we talk too much about Lamar Jackson? He got paid. It was fine. For months, we were like, well, no, are they going to do right by him?
Right.
Like, he got paid, and he's up there with the best. So now he has to play football, and I don't know. This is another thing where Harbaugh's a great regular season coach, right? He'll usually get you to double-digit wins, but I like it slightly under because I think the division has gotten better, and my surprise to win the division, I can't have 4 teams at 9 wins in this division. So
I get it. The thing when I said about how he got paid, he got the contract, that brings a whole different level of pressure. Like a year ago, it becomes they got to take care of Lamar. He's so it's all positive.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has 2 bad games. It's like, my God, we're paying Lamar all this money. What's happening? And it's just different. And we've seen he definitely hears stuff.
Yeah.
Right? He's definitely attuned to what people are saying one way or the other.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's in the bathroom, right? He had to go. He couldn't get out of the bathroom that one. The one thing I want to say is, and a lot of the experts will laugh at this, but how much is Justin Tucker worth to a win total? A half a game?
So I had him in my rankings. I had him as a 2-point guy.
Yeah.
And he was the only special teams person because it's he has to be worth 2 wins.
Yeah. So if they're an 8-8 team, he gets them the 9th win, or 9-7 when he gets them the 10th win. That's the only thing I worry about with them.
Their schedule's a little goofy where they're at Cincinnati week 2, at Cleveland, at Pittsburgh week 4 or 5, and then they go to London and play Tennessee in week 6.
Mm.
And they kind of have to get through those first 6 being 3-3 if they're going to get double figures. It gets a little easier after that. But
Stroud and Richardson, 2 of the first 3. Yeah.
The defense is, I think, my biggest question mark of anything in the AFC North. All right, make your case for the Browns. Over under 9.5 plus 400 to win the division. Do you have money on this?
I do. I have too much. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because we know new people who work with the Browns, and maybe this is my little dig, but I don't. I have them at 11 wins. I think Deshaun. I'm throwing it out. Like most people are saying, well, we had a good sample out of Watson, and he wasn't good. I was like, no, I don't think he could be thrown back in there like that and expect to pay dividends. And, Elijah Moore's added, Goodwin, Cedric Tillman, this rookie out of Tennessee. You got Chubb focused, not splitting carries now with Kareem Hunt.
My guy, Nick
no
Chubb.
longer. Yeah. They pick up Thornhill, the safety from Kansas City. Bookend Myles Garrett was a Darius Smith. I think this defense is going to be amongst the best in the division. So I have them. Stefanski's good enough, and now they have Jim Schwartz, like I said.
Stefanski's good enough?
I think so.
What does that mean?
Well, he won his most important game.
He has 2 arms and 2 legs and a head, and he can hold a clipboard?
Listen, he was at home resting when with COVID when his team won that playoff game.
Right.
That's what you wanted to coach. Just get out of the way. Let them do what they can.
Their first 5, 4 at home against Cincy, Tennessee, Baltimore, San Fran, and then at Pittsburgh week 2 Monday night.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then they got at Indy week 7. And I don't think Indy's going to be very good, but they have some stinkers on their schedule. At Indy, home Arizona. They have an at Denver if you think Denver's not going to be that good. At the Rams, Jacksonville at home, Chicago at home, at Houston. So there's some wins they can kind of grab and then just try to split everything else. I have them at least 10-7.
Nice.
And you could talk me in 11-6, but I have them as a playoff team. They're also kind of loaded, and everybody's talking about their pass rush. They have, I think, a top 4 offensive line.
Yeah.
Chubb.
You
their
said
receivers
pass
are
rush
better.
correctly. You got to work on that.
Pass rush.
Yeah, I don't like when you say it right.
So it's the thing with them. I think they're one of the high ceiling, low floor teams, right? Because if Watson's actually good, I'm not even saying 4 years ago good, but if he's just good, and makes some plays and does some stuff, I think they're no question they're a playoff team.
Sure.
If he's a C+, they might still be a playoff team. If he's last year's Watson, then I would change my mind.
You say low ceiling, and I know you said the NFC East had the most wins last year, but if FanDuel were to make a prop about which, I want to know how to say it.
Total wins in NFC East
which
versus
division is
AFC North?
least likely to have a last place team with 6 wins or a lot? I think.
I would say AFC North.
Yeah, this is the one, right?
Because NFC East, it's probably Washington.
Right. Yeah. By the way, I want to ask you, when you did your win totals, did they add up to?
I didn't do that.
Then you're not a serious person. I can't take you seriously.
I think that's psychotic.
Look at it. Really? It's psychotic?
You added everything up?
How do you know if your numbers add up?
I'm okay. This year, I'm a little under on my wins. I'm probably like 4 or 5 wins, but I'd rather do that than like try to force some pick I don't believe in. Maybe,
All right. Someone explain math to Simmons here. It's got to add up. It's got to be like 252 and 252. If you want to take time to do that to make it right, I'll wait here.
It can be whatever I want it to be.
As you get them to add up.
Pittsburgh, over 8.5. I mentioned earlier the team that I've liked all year, all offseason. This is my team.
This is one you like.
I'm in on Pittsburgh.
Really?
I'm in on Pickett. I thought their preseason, which you can kind of discount. The only things we can really learn from a preseason are, does the quarterback you were a little worried about, did he look awesome? Or in the Carolina case, does this team look like an actual possible disaster, which is what they looked like?
Right.
Pickens, that Jaylen Warren is probably going to take Najee Harris's job at some point. They fixed the offensive line. It's at least decent now. They have Watt back for the whole year. 7-2 they finished last year. A lot of that was without Watt. Tomlin never has had a losing season, as you've heard that stat many times. I like the talent, and I don't think their schedule's that hard. So, week 1, they have San Francisco.
Yep.
And we're going to do Guess the Lines on Sunday's pod.
Oh, I didn't tell you. I have something else going on, but yeah.
All right, I'm going to do Guess the Lines with somebody.
Raheem will fill in. Yeah.
It'll be either +3 or +2.5 for that Pittsburgh game. I think Pittsburgh's going to beat San Francisco and could potentially become the overreaction team. And I like San Francisco. I just think Pittsburgh's going to show up for that game, lay the smack down, and we're off. I believe in the Steelers, Sal.
I thought about that just in general. Like, this is the podcast we could yell and scream about how many teams are there? 32 teams. And probably by 2 p.m. Eastern time on the first Sunday, we're going to be wrong about 12 of them.
Right.
Like, holy crap. 49ers are down 21-3.
The Bills are amazing.
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
What happened?
Josh Allen's the best player of the league.
So let's enjoy this moment. But again, this is a tough one. But Steelers fans are outraged that it's 8.5 when Tomlin never goes under 8.5. But let me just say this. First of all, the end of the season, the Steelers I don't know what, they get lucky and they play backup quarterbacks the end of the year, and they always end up getting to 9, even though they have 6 in December, 6 wins. They're not going to be able to do that this year. They end with Cincinnati, at Seattle, and at Baltimore. That's as tough as it gets. So they better have 8 going into that stretch.
At Seattle's not that bad.
Oh, no. It's going to be that time of year. People, they go, Watt was out. That's the be-all, end-all. They were the least injured team in 2022.
That's Mike Tomlin. He knows how to keep his players fresh.
But now,
did you see his sparring quote
before
the preseason or about the preseason?
No.
He said you can't know how to box if you don't do some sparring.
Really?
That's why he plays his starters in the preseason a little bit. Yeah, he's a man, Mike Tomlin.
I didn't know that.
A man's man.
Let me write. That's not on my notes that he's a man.
Put that down.
All right,
Put that down with your 252.
Yeah,
252.
I don't know. They faced Burrow, Lamar, and Watson. Those are probably the best 3 quarterbacks in the division the Steelers have faced, right? In a long time.
Well, we don't know about Watson.
I do.
I guess we'll see.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. I'm all in. I am in on a bunch of Steelers bets. The division plus 470. The playoffs plus 128. And I'll tell you this, number 1 seed 20-1. Sprinkling a little on that too.
What is wrong with you? What happened to you? You were in the heat too much.
12 plus wins plus 360. Intriguing. Not going to do it.
This year, 12? Or it has 12 to be
plus
over,
wins,
over the course of 2
they have to win 12 or more.
Wow.
Yeah. I think so. The case for them to be the number 1 seed is just the case that this division will produce the number 1 seed and that it won't be Kansas City, because Kansas City, nobody seems to understand who their receivers are other than Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Not to mention hard schedule. Maybe Mahomes gets dinged for 3 games and then all of a sudden division's up for grab. We've had weird number 1 seeds. I think this is going to be one of the best teams
Tennessee
in the conference.
Was one a couple of years ago. Well,
so the 20-1 is enticing.
12 wins, and you have.
I have them 11-6.
And Cleveland also 11. And
I have
Cincinnati
Cleveland
10-7,
and I have Cincinnati 10-7. I have 3 10-win teams in this division.
Your shit definitely doesn't add up. I don't know.
What do you mean? Sorry. Last year we had Dallas and Philly in double figures, and we had the Giants at 9-7-1.
Yeah.
So that's a prototype.
All right. Okay.
I can do some math.
I don't know.
So you're out on the Steelers. Well, we're going to know after week 1.
There's some good ones. There's first of all, a lot of it, when you say like the ceiling and the upside is like the same, like the Ravens, you can go 9 wins exactly on FanDuel for plus 650. I think that's like pretty good. You'll be right there. I think.
Right. You can hedge
week
it
17.
in the last game.
You could bet. Well, you won't like this, but Bengals AFC Championship game to make the AFC Championship game is plus 250. You'll probably
those odds aren't good enough.
Pickett 5 or more rushing touchdowns at plus 370.
Have you followed some of the Pickett stuff? Like he might have it.
You love this preseason stuff.
But he was good at the end of last year. I was impressed by him. He got concussed during the season too, which people forgot.
He's one of the worst passers out. He had the league worst 12 passing touchdowns.
Listen,
last year he had 7.
It kills me.
I know this.
To praise Pittsburgh and be aligned with them and those awful Steelers fans.
Okay.
So I just don't think I want to be with those people.
All right, you don't have to.
But I have a lot of money in the Steelers. I'm in on the Steelers.
Kyle learned how to edit over the summer. You can take that part out.
Kyle's in Poughkeepsie. He's mentally opening the bar already.